I'll tell you what, we got everything set up and running. You can see we got some tailings going below here. We probably run about 10 buckets through already. The machine's set up nice and level. You want to make sure you're set level left to right. And that's real easy to tell. If you see that you're having a buildup as it's running through on your riffles on one side or the other, you can just pick up that side a little bit, level the machine back up. You want to have a nice even flow across both sides of it. We're running a Keene 12 volt puffer. It's a bellows type vac. I've just got a little lawn and tractor battery. You can run that thing for probably about 2 days before it gets too low. We ran it yesterday for about a total of 6 hours running time, and it still had a 70% charge on it last night. One thing you'll have to do, you see the tailings start to build up on the bottom of the machine there, and every 3 or 4 buckets you need to scrape a little of that back. And then the back side of it, you'll see the rocks build up too, and they'll get into your wheel. And occasionally, after maybe about 10 buckets or so, you need to rake that back. Now, we're not classifying this. We're just running these buckets. We're just digging them straight out of the bank. Big rocks and all. Some of the big giant rocks, of course, we'll take off to the side. We'll rake those off. But most of the rocks, about a pound or so, they're just in the buckets. And I'll just shovel it up into the grizzly on the dry washer there, and the big rocks will fall off, and every now and then it loads up a little bit. You've just got to kind of scrape it off with your hand, and we just shovel it in. You want to keep a nice steady flow. You can see right now we've got the riffles are all filled up, and you're just barely seeing the riffles when it's stopped. When I turn it back on, you're going to see like a flow, and it'll be kind of a waves going across the riffle action there. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the machine back on here, and have Glennis here hold the video for me. I said we're just about a bucket away from clean out. You don't want to let this thing run too much when you're not shoveling material. You want to, if you're not shoveling, you want to just go ahead and turn it off. When you're ready to go again, just turn it back on. And I'm putting about a half a shovelful in there. And now you can see the riffles, they're starting to cover that, and that's what you want to see. You want to just barely see those riffles covered. If it was just a straight line on top, you would have too much material going through. So you would just want to see a nice wave action across the top and just barely see those riffles on it. You'd probably be better off underfeeding it than overfeeding it. If you underfeed it, you're not going to be losing any gold. You're just not going to be as efficient in your time. If you overfeed it, you could be flowing gold over the top of it. Just scrape these rocks off the top into your pile. About a half a shovelful at a time. Nice and easy. You want to make sure that your dirt's extremely dry. If you don't have dry dirt, it's not going to be working right. So if it rained the day before or a couple days before, you're going to be having problems dry washing. That's why they call it dry washing. We hit a little pocket of kind of clay type dirt, and the way you can check it is you push it together between your fingers, and if it's thick, it makes a little patty. Well, it's too wet, you can't use it. This dirt's just marginal. We hit a kind of a damp clay pocket, and you really don't want to run too much of that through. I'm actually going to go ahead and stop right now because we get into that clay and that damp dirt can take your gold with it. If you have any gold in there and that damp dirt hits it, it'll take your gold right out of the dry washer. Cleanup on this Keene is really easy. Just get you a clean bucket. Undo your wing nut down here. Stick that in your pocket where you're not going to lose it. Carefully lift up your grizzly. It helps if you use two people, but our second person's running the camera right now. Set your back down, and then what you want to do is you want to dump this very carefully into a clean bucket. This is your concentrate. Get that all tapped off really good down in there. All your fines are going to be caught in there. If it's real windy, make sure you put your back to the wind. Look in there, make sure you don't have any nuggets trapped in the... There's a few little flecks in there. We're going to tap that out just a little bit better. I'll tell you, next thing you want to do is before you put your grizzly back in, it's real important to get a good seal under the grizzly. I'm sorry, under the riffles. Just kind of clean this off a bit, especially where the riffle tray sits. Otherwise you'll be losing air and the machine won't be as efficient. Now you will get some dirt, some really fine dirt, powder, come through. And then as this gets older, as your screen and your riffles, your cloth gets older, the holes might get a little bigger and you'll get a little dirt build up in here. This plug here, you can drain it out, you can tip it over and drain it out. Or what I do is I've got a gas powered vacuum that we'll use too. When we get done working here, we'll vacuum the area. I'll just vacuum that all out, and that protects your seals inside there, and eventually that will build up before you get too much in there and you can't use it. But you can clean that out at the end of the day or the end of the trip. Slide your riffle tray all the way back out, or gently set your down. And if you put your wing nut in your pocket where you didn't lose it, now you're all set. You're back in business, ready to run again. We're going to go pan out our concentrate here, so you're going to shut it off for a second, get set up for panning, and